Okay, we have two meetings tonight. The first is a special meeting of the Urbana City Council, and that will be followed by the Committee of the Whole meeting. Will the clerk please call the roll?
City Council members Brown.
Here.
Hersey.
Here.
Jacobson.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Wu.
Here.
Mayor Marlin.
Here. Next item on the agenda is public input, and we have a special proclamation tonight, and that'll be followed by regular public input from individuals. Rachel Storm, our coordinator of our Public Arts and Culture Commission, wants to lead this off.
Good evening. We're going to share two chairs, in which case you both take the chairs and I'm going to do this. Oh, how terrific, even better. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Many of you know me as the Arts and Culture Coordinator for the City of Urbana. I'm really privileged to be here this evening in recognition of Women's History Month, and wanted to take just a brief moment to talk a little bit about some of the initiatives that we have going on between the Arts and Culture Program and many of our area nonprofits and community groups in honor of this nationally recognized month, recognizing women throughout history and their contributions. First, I want to hand it off to Paula McCarty, who's here, and she's actually our featured artist of the corridor this month. In honor of Women's History Month, we have an exhibit up called Women Who Painted, and I wanted to give her an opportunity to talk to you a little bit about it.
Okay. Well, a couple years ago, I've been an oil painter for several years, but a couple of years ago, I wanted to learn how to digitally paint. So I bought a phone with a stylus and set out to paint deceased women painters. And after a while, I accumulated quite a few of them. The intention was to work out ideas to take these digital paintings to oil paintings, larger oil paintings. And so far, I've accumulated about 30 total, 20 digital works and 10 oil paintings that are on display now, 28 of the 30. Some here and some at the Urbana Free Library through the month of March. And what else would you like me to say?
Where can they learn more about it?
Where can they? Oh, yes, I have a website. It's called womenwhopainted.com. After I accumulated enough paintings, a friend had suggested I build a website for these women, and it's an educational tool where you can click on the image of the woman and it will take you to their Wikipedia page so people can learn more about the artist.
It shouldn't be a surprise to most of us in this room that a lot of the women artists that are featured are lesser known names in the art world, as women's contributions in all areas of civic life are often overlooked. We even have people whose husbands are perhaps more famous than them.
True.
Though they might be better artists, who knows. But you should check out what is this wonderful website, because it also functions as a public archive. And it's something that Paul is continuing to build.
True.
Might become part of a larger, longer project.
Yes, that's the plan, to keep this going. There are so many women artists out there, so it could last a lifetime, really.
And you'll see that the artists that are represented really represent a wide range of both types of art and artists who hail from different parts of the world. So be sure to check that exhibit out before you leave this evening. Now I want to pass it over to Claire Conway. Claire comes to us from the Women's Resources Center at the University of Illinois. The Women's Center puts together a campus and community calendar of a wide range of Women's History Month related events. So we just want to take a moment to highlight some of those for you in case you're interested in going out and experiencing more of that this month.
Yes, I have physical copies of the calendar with me that I'm happy to share with anyone who wants one. In particular, I'd like to highlight an event we have coming up on Wednesday evening. We're having an awards reception for the winners of our International Women's Day Photography Contest, where all the photos will be displayed. We'll announce the winners. Refreshments will be served, and it will be taking place at the Asian American Cultural Center starting at 5:30 this Wednesday.
Thank you. I want to first acknowledge before our proclamation that we're joined today by many different women from our community. Of course, they represent a subset of a wide variety of women movers and shakers in our community, but I wanted to invite some folks to join us today to be recognized for some of the things they've done in the fields of education and advocacy, gender equity, social justice, nonprofit management, and so many other areas of arts and culture and civic life, and have really truly made many contributions and a big difference for our community. So when I call your name, I'm going to invite you to stand and be recognized. And if I can invite the rest of us to give them an applause, that would be lovely. The first person is Patricia Avery. And you can stay standing if you will. Next is Evelyn Underwood. Doris McGee. Aaron Tarr. Patricia Leone. Susan Ogwal. Janaea Modest. June Clark Eubanks. Isis Rose. Sarah Colome. Janice Walker. Eldest Melinda Carr. And Dion Liscombe. And now I would love to invite every woman in the room to stand and be recognized for everything that you're doing for women in this community one way or another. So many of the people who are standing right now have contributed to the livelihoods of girls in our community through the arts, through cultural programming, through uplifting, through advocating for equity and social justice. There's just so much to be thankful for, and this, I want to emphasize, is but a subset, is but a sampling of all of the different people engaged in advocacy in our community that I think deserve, of course, more recognition than can ever be showered upon them. But I want to also just hand it off to the mayor because we're going to have a proclamation at this time, but we want to invite everyone to come forward if you're willing to stand near us for this proclamation. Nope. Now you're going to have to go get a little closer. And if you're on the shorter side, maybe towards the front, taller side towards the back.
Are we ready? Okay. This is a proclamation by the mayor of the city of Urbana, Illinois. Whereas, women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas, women have played and continue to play critical economic, cultural, and social roles in every sphere of the life of the nation by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. And whereas, women were particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions in our nation and have provided the majority of the volunteer labor force. And that is the truth. And whereas women have served our country courageously in the military, and whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background served as early leaders of the forefront of every major progressive social change movement, and whereas women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and other movements especially the peace movement, which create a more fair and just society for all. Now, therefore, I, Diane Wolf Marlin, Mayor of the City of Urbana, Illinois, do hereby proclaim March 2020 as Women's History Month in the City of Urbana, Illinois. Congratulations to us all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks. Good to see you.
Thank you all for coming.
Okay, is there any other, do we have any other public input, Charlie? No? Okay. All right, we have one item on this agenda, and that is a couple of staff appointments. The first is for Elizabeth Hannon to be appointed to the position of Human Resources and Finance Department Director and Chief Financial Officer. As you know, with the departure of Todd Rent back in December, Human Resources and Finance Departments have been consolidated. And after much consideration, the new name of this consolidated department is Human Resources and Finance. It took a long time. I'm pleased to submit Elizabeth Hannon's appointment to be our new Human Resource and Finance Director / Chief Financial Officer. Elizabeth, as you know, has deep roots in our community. She had a 26-year career with the City of Champaign. She joined the City of Urbana in 2014 as Finance Director. She's a trusted advisor. She's guided us through the past few years of confronting and resolving our structural budget deficit. We will all be well served by her in this expanded role. So in addition to her promotion to director of the new department, there have been several staff promotions as some of her finance responsibilities have been reallocated to more junior staff. There was also a reallocation of responsibilities in the legal division that'll give us more bandwidth for collective bargaining issues. And the new position of HR generalist has been added to give much needed capacity to process applications, rewrite position descriptions, and help with ongoing recruitment and retention efforts. And I'll go back to the rewriting of positions descriptions. We have some position descriptions that are over 20 years old, so there's a lot of catching up that we have to do in HR, and we are going to appreciate the efforts of this department going forward. So I want to personally thank Elizabeth for her commitment to the City of Urbana. She's tackled some amazingly difficult challenges and has conquered them all with the help of everyone on the staff and on the council. And I deeply appreciate her stepping into this new role, and she will fill it with her characteristic competence, efficiency, optimism, and cheer. And then the second staff appointment I wanted to bring forward, I'll just introduce a bit, and then Carol wanted to provide a little more information because this is a totally new position actually within the city. We've started out several years ago building a foundation for our future, and we've come a long way toward that. And one of the next big challenges awaiting us is to rewrite the city's comprehensive plan. This was published last in 2005, so the data that the comp plan that we're using today is based on is really about 20 years old, so long past due for that to be done. I'm pleased to announce that Andrea Rudy has agreed to join our team to lead this effort. and I'm submitting her appointment to the council for a limited-term position as Senior Advisor for Integrated Strategy Development. She'll lead our comprehensive plan efforts with the support and assistance from Community Development Services Department and report to City Administrator Carol Mitten. Our next comp plan will be inclusive in every way and more comprehensive in every way. It'll include input from all stakeholders in the city. It'll reflect all of our major policy initiatives, and it will include achievable strategies to ensure that the plan is implemented. And I will turn this over to Carol for her to provide some more detail.
Thanks. I want to share a few thoughts with the council and the public about the comprehensive plan process, and maybe Andrea could be settling herself at the table in front of us while I do so, because then she'll introduce herself. There's no blueprint for rewriting the comprehensive plan the way we envision the process. The last time the comp plan was updated in Urbana, we used all in-house staff. And in addition to their work on the comp plan, those staff members were shouldering their regular workload along with those additional responsibilities. That process took 5 years and resulted in such burnout of staff that most of them left. So we don't want to repeat that. We appreciate that the council understands that our comp plan efforts this time need to be additive to our existing resources. With resources reserved for this effort, many communities use outside consultants to drive their comprehensive planning processes. For instance, Champaign County Regional Planning Commission recently led the process for the Village of Savoy to rewrite their comprehensive plan. And there's nothing wrong with that approach, but we want something different for Urbana. We think that the money we could spend exclusively on consultants is better spent with a strong in-house team devoted exclusively to this effort, supplemented by consultants on a selective basis. We envision a process that is community-based and relies on both local and national expertise to inform policy discussions that impact land use and economic development decisions. These policy areas will include sustainability, financial vitality, climate change, housing affordability, and public safety. We intend to draw broadly on the expertise of our own staff as well to be sure that everyone sees and understands how their work informs the comprehensive plan and how the finished product will provide a vision for us all to follow and give us common direction. Through our work on the census, we've been developing inroads with hard-to-engage populations. We want to leverage and expand on those efforts for the comprehensive plan. We also learned from the What's in Your Square initiative that soliciting feedback from people using different methods and in different formats is extremely useful. It also generates excitement and creativity. The community, as broadly as we can define that, will write the comprehensive plan. To accomplish that goal, we envision an iterative process that incrementally synthesizes stakeholder feedback into a coherent and integrated whole. The final project must feel genuine and achievable to the stakeholders of Urbana, or it won't work. Activities in support of the comprehensive plan rewrite are expected to begin this summer with the start of the new fiscal year. We're bringing Andrea on now so that she can begin her immersion in all the activities we are currently doing throughout the government related to land use, economic development, sustainability, resilience, support for vulnerable populations, and public safety. Likewise, we will introduce her to community leaders in this area with whom she might not be familiar. She already has an extensive network of business and university relationships, as you can tell from her resume. And with that, I'll turn things over to Andrea to further introduce herself. And after Andrea speaks, me, the mayor, Lori, Andrea will be all available to answer questions about the comprehensive plan process going forward. And Lori will let you know who she has selected as the planner dedicated to work on the comp plan. Andrea?
Great. Thank you, Mayor Meyerlin and City Administrator Mitten. I've been watching with interest the progressive changes that have been happening in Urbana that are creating the city's foundation for the future. I commend the mayor, the council members, and city staff for their vision and work in ensuring that Urbana is poised to address current and future challenges. Having a role in updating the city's comprehensive plan is a challenge that I'm eager to undertake. Having been part of the University of Illinois Research Park master planning process, as well as having led the Champaign County visioning process while at the Champaign County Alliance, I know that developing a comprehensive plan requires inclusiveness of all stakeholders and influencers. It also must result in a plan that is implementable, with specific actions to be achieved within a designated timeline, and also be financially feasible. I pride myself on being able to build long-standing relationships and to foster collaborations among diverse constituents. I also believe ongoing communication and transparency is essential. I appreciate this opportunity to join the city as we sustain and enhance the city of Urbana as a place for residents and businesses to locate and prosper. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Bill?
Yeah, I guess for staff, since this wasn't one of the council mayoral goals that we set a few years ago, I'm interested in, you've called it a rewrite, and why are we doing a rewrite rather than just an update? 15 years is, I think Dennis was on the council when this passed last time. He's the only one. It's a while, but have attitudes in the community changed that much? The same process, from what I read in the plan, was followed last time as far as getting the input. So I'm interested in what a rewrite means versus an update, or is there going to be is it going to be an update? What do you have planned?
What we do not have planned is an update. So we really think about this as a rewrite, and that doesn't mean that we're scrapping everything that's in the existing comprehensive plan. It's that the thinking that we want to bring to this, and you've heard us repeat it in all these different combinations of words, is really inclusive. And so we not only want the people that show up to be engaged and participate to give us input, we want to go out and find the people that are not being represented by the groups that come forward. We want to think about all our policy objectives collectively, not just land use and economic development. I mean, one of the things that I think was really missing, and it's something that I remember being an important missing link when I was just even interviewing for this job, is the comprehensive plan did not, it didn't underpin an economic development strategy. And I think what we've learned through this struggle of stabilizing our finances is how important that is to our financial stability going forward. But to try to do that without a good foundation from the comprehensive plan, I think is why we feel so strongly about a rewrite. And I know Lori feels strongly about that too, so I'm going to give you a chance to add to what I said.
Just to add, and thank you for setting that, the primer. So 2005 was, of course, before the Great Recession. I think we have a different way of thinking of things now than perhaps we did in the early 2000s when everything was a boom and people were building all over the place all the time. So now is a really good time to set ourselves up for really taking off now that we've had an opportunity to stabilize since the recession. That's one of the bigger things that I see, is that the economy has so changed. And we need to think about different ways of really capturing those things, those changes in the economy.
And I would add a couple of things. One is the recognition that everything we do has to take climate change into account. What's happening today and what's going to be happening in the future. And the comp plan of 20 years ago did not have that, I don't think, as its theme. That should be one of the very main themes of this new comp plan. And the other thing is over the years, you know, every once in a while we'll get an issue come before City Council, and it will remind us that people's opinions about housing density, neighborhood density, have changed, especially when you talk to younger people. So one of the groups that I really want to engage in this process are our younger residents, and to make sure we're getting their perspective on this plan, because it's their future that we're writing here. So we, once in a while, there's a policy that we have in place that somehow may not be appropriate for going forward with, and I want to make sure we're positioning this community to move forward for the next 20 years. Yes?
Just a follow-up, I guess, for Lori. Do you envision this as being similar as far as being a plan of plans? We have a lot of plans we've already worked on as far as bicycle pedestrian plans, downtown plans, and other like corridor plans,
And more plans yet to come,
yeah.
sure.
Just for clarification, those get automatically incorporated in the comp plan. Every time we pass one of those, we usually incorporate
Correct. It becomes an element of the comprehensive plan. So I think it is important to use the work that's already been done when it is still relevant. And so there's quite a number of plans that certainly, yes, we can rely on that work that's already been done and weave it into it and then build off of that. There, some of those, maybe there's some tweaks along the way that need to be made already, but certainly relying on those is a huge first step.
Thank you.
Jared?
Question about staffing structure for it, Lori. I know you haven't announced who it is, but we know who it is that you're going to announce. And I'm just curious, is this going to be a process? I'm curious about council's role is really what I'm getting at. And are we just going to see it at the end results? I imagine we're going to have opportunities to put into something. Are we going to form a special committee of any kind to offer input from council through the process? I know we've done that for other things as well, and I feel like it might be appropriate for this. Any plans about?
Well, as Carol mentioned, there's no plan yet to do the plan. We need to develop that. But obviously, yes, your input will be woven throughout the process. Certainly a lot of opportunities for comment. I know that it is not my MO just to take something and slap it in front of people and say, there you go. I know that's not going to work. So that is not something that I think will happen in this case either.
And we'll count on council to help with the outreach and getting in touch with people in the community as well. So, Dennis.
And so one of the important things about the plan would be goals, achievable goals. We mentioned that. And I'm wondering if the plan will be evolved to a point where we have specific goals as well as general goals. How far deeply will we be imagining the completion or the success of whatever we pick?
I don't know that I have an answer for that at this point, and I think that's going to evolve too. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I think we feel really strongly about is we want to look at what are the comprehensive plans that we aspire to emulate, and we really want to get all this feedback and then start to, the reason I said we're going to have an iterative process and it's about synthesizing is because we're not going to hear the same thing from everyone, right? So part of it is going to be how do we reconcile conflicting input? And so that's going to require direction. But then at the end of the day, how strictly can we align around specifics versus maybe the direction is we need to give guidance to staff and the people who will be investing in our community that is more flexible, because for all we know we'll be in the middle of a recession by the time it gets finished. And we want to make sure things are achievable, but we have to recognize that we can't necessarily put investments on a schedule if we don't have all the resources available. So I think even what the final work product looks like is difficult to say right now.
Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that you kind of did touch upon just now the fact that the economic future of the community, the city, the state, and the nation are it's really kind of unknown sort of what direction it's going to all go right now. And, we do have these cyclical downturns, and it's been a long time, and it's been suggested that we might be facing one in the future. So I always want to be optimistic about what's possible to do in our community, and there's always more goals and desires that we have that we can fulfill. So it's going to be difficult in the long run, of course, as it is always, to after we hear from the people and what they'd like to have, and I like it to be open and kind of dream-oriented, and then we get down to like what's really feasible is going to be like the harder task, and it might. Do you see that as being a step that happens after the comprehensive plan is formed, or will it be integrated into the comprehensive plan? I guess I'm wondering how to what degree will we have to pare down our expectations in the plan itself?
I think, one of the things one of the reasons why we're approaching the comprehensive plan this way is because we really want whatever comes out of it to not just be direction about land use, and not just be like where do we want the density to be, and what kind of businesses do we want to attract, but we want it to, we've been struggling since I've been here in internal conversations about how do we express who we are, right? And ultimately that what comes out of the comprehensive plan is an expression of who we are. And that needs to be true no matter what the economy is doing. So that's why we feel so strongly about taking this in-house, reaching out as thoroughly as we can to get feedback from the community, so that what's built into it is genuinely who we are and a sense of direction from that perspective. And so that will allow us to have sort of a North Star no matter what the economy is doing.
I like that because I think that this community is a very unique community with a very unique viewpoint, even in the larger regional area.
Mm-hmm.
Eric?
I would say that one of the things our community is, that really identifies our community, is it's tremendously heterogeneous. And I like to point out that in my ward, we have a Roman Catholic church, an African American Baptist church, a mosque, a Unitarian church.
Catholic Church?
Yeah, a Catholic church. A Greek Orthodox church. All of these are in one ward, and they all represent communities that are really providing, I would say, a sort of tapestry of many, many different cultures, traditions, and so forth. So, and I treasure that. And I think most people who reflect on that really do treasure that as well. So whatever you do with the comprehensive plan, whatever we do with the comprehensive plan, we've got to preserve and nurture that.
Absolutely.
Jared?
Just one more quick comment, Andrea. Your resume is befuddling in its comprehensiveness of your experience in life, and we're, I think, all honored that you're willing to come here and work with us on this big task. I mean, I can't even imagine having done half the things that are on there, maybe even a quarter of them. So we're honored, and I think I speak for most of the council in saying that. So thanks for coming to us and seeking this challenge.
Well, thank you. I am honored to be here, and I just can't wait to take on the challenge. I'm looking so forward to it, and working with the city staff. The team here has been phenomenal just to this point, and so I just can't wait to start working with the council and coming up with our own unique comprehensive plan.
Thank you. I will entertain, do we do each of these individually? Oh, Mary Alice?
I thought, was Lori going to talk about the impact on community development?
So, yes.
Thank you.
And I feel like I should do like a prom reveal or baby gender reveal thing with balloons now. So the idea that Lily Wilcock would be working on the comprehensive plan, so removed from her day-to-day responsibilities in planning, and then we would hire someone to do those day-to-day things in planning so that the applications get processed, the phone calls get returned, that kind of thing. And then perhaps bolstering up some of our interns during this process would probably also be helpful at certain points in particular. So that is the staffing impact on CD as I see it.
Any other questions? Mary Alice.
So I had a question when we were discussing this last week, and so right now we're bundling these with Elizabeth, right? And we're bundling both positions into a motion. Is that right?
We can.
It's one
We
motion?
can.
I'm sorry? Okay. Well, my question was, with all these shifts and so forth, and the need to kind of promote within in the HR department to be able to take over those functions, what is the bottom line? How much more, less, or are we breaking even in terms of all these shifts?
I had sent an email on that, and maybe you just want me to put it on the record.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I
Okay,
apologize.
yeah, I sent it last week, it's fine. When you look at all the shifts that took place in HR, taking, sort of cannibalizing Todd's position and so forth, that actually put us a few $1,000s ahead. And then what we did was we had Jim can plug his ears. We had reduced the admin and legal to half-time. So we took the resources from that, cobbled that together with the savings of, with what the net from the rearrangement of things in HR and finance, and we're able to hire an administrative assistant. Yeah, which is an additive position, but the net result is basically neutral.
So there's, in addition to hiring a planning person, we're hiring also an administrative assistant?
No, I thought your question had been around the changes between HR and finance, and so I was answering it in that context. Now, when you're asking about the backfill for Lily's position, you will see. Well, I don't know when that'll be in the budget. That'll be in the FY21 budget, because Lily won't start on the comprehensive plan being dedicated to it until July 1.
So if I can just summarize,
Yes.
all of the changes that are taking place in HR and budget right now are basically a wash, right, between using Todd Rent's position. And then the community development group will have an increase because we have to backfill Lily, and then we'll have an increase here for 3 years.
Yeah, and the one piece I can't remember, and Elizabeth might have to jump up on this one, is isn't there going to be a budget amendment to?
There's a budget amendment.
Or maybe, I don't know. Could you, about the money for Andrea's position in this fiscal year?
It's on the agenda tonight.
See, I knew it was like happening or something. Okay. Thank you. I knew we didn't forget about it.
But that's new money.
That's new money.
Okay.
That one is new
All right,
money.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Jared.
I'll make a motion that we approve these appointments.
I'd like to second.
Moved by Jared, seconded by Dennis. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
Great.
So that concludes the items on the agenda for the special council meeting, and this meeting is adjourned. And we'll turn it over to Dennis Roberts for the committee of the whole.